Bernard, a devoted husband and father, believes his 10-year marriage to Amanda is stable despite occasional tension. After a particularly stressful week during what should have been a romantic dinner, Amanda coldly states, "You need to understand something, Bernard. You're nothing more than a co-parent to me, not my real match." The devastating words shatter his world instantly. Rather than beg for her affection, Bernard makes a life-changing decision to become exactly what she claimed he was, just a co-parent. Before I continue this heartbreaking story, where are you watching from?com. Hit like and subscribe to join our community of real-life storytellers. I never imagined my marriage would come to this point. At 34, I thought I had everything figured out. A stable job as a software engineer, a beautiful suburban home with good schools for the kids, and what I believed was a loving partnership with Amanda, my wife of 8 years. We met at my college roommate's wedding. I was a groomsman and she was a bridesmaid. A classic setup that actually worked. Amanda caught my eye immediately, with her confident laugh and the way she genuinely listened when people spoke. We danced all night, and by the end of the evening, I knew she was special. Our romance moved quickly, maybe too quickly, looking back. Within 6 months, we were engaged and planning our future together. We talked about our dreams, our desire for children, and the life we would build. Everything seemed perfect. When Lucas was born 7 years ago, I fell in love all over again. Watching Amanda become a mother filled me with pride. 4 years later, Sophia completed our family. I threw myself into fatherhood determined to be present, despite my demanding career. I worked extra hours to ensure financial stability, but never missed important moments. First steps, school performances, bedtime stories. We established our family traditions, Sunday pancake breakfasts, where I would create animal shapes to make the kids giggle, summer camping trips, where we would disconnect from technology and reconnect with nature, and holiday rituals that I hoped would form the foundation of happy childhood memories. I prided myself on being a hands-on father. Bath time homework helped doctor appointments. I was there for it all. Amanda and I were partners, or so I thought. Yes, we had our struggles like any couple, but I believed we were solid working together toward common goals. I started noticing subtle changes about 8 months ago. Amanda became increasingly absorbed in social media, constantly checking her phone, posting carefully curated family photos, while simultaneously growing more distant from our actual family life. She began spending more time with Jessica, a colleague who had recently divorced her husband and seemed to glorify her newfound freedom. Our physical intimacy had dwindled over 6 months. At first, I attributed it to normal ebbs and flows, the stress of parenting our busy schedules. I tried initiating conversations about it, but Amanda would dismiss my concerns or blame exhaustion. Then came the physical transformation, a new gym membership, shopping sprees for clothes I had never seen her wear at home, increased attention to her appearance before work, but comfortable clothes and no makeup on weekends with family. Again, I supported what I thought was self-care, never suspecting these changes might be for someone else's benefit. Her criticism of me increased steadily. My parenting style was too lenient, my work hours too long, my interests too boring. The girls' nights out became more frequent, with vague explanations about where she was going and who would be there. Several times I walked into our bedroom to find Amanda quickly hiding her phone or switching screens. When I asked casual questions about her day, her answers became short and guarded. Still, I trusted her. I believed in us. What a fool I was. For our anniversary, I planned a special dinner at the upscale restaurant where we had celebrated our engagement. I hired our regular babysitter, bought Amanda's favorite flowers, made reservations weeks in advance, and even got a haircut. I was determined to reconnect, to rekindle whatever spark had dimmed between us. Throughout dinner, Amanda seemed distracted, checking her phone, repeatedly responding with one-word answers to my attempts at conversation. When I reached for her hand across the table, she pulled away using the excuse of needing to check on the kids via text. I had just ordered dessert when she put her phone down and looked directly at me, her expression unnervingly calm. "Bernard, we need to talk about our relationship," she said in a tone I had never heard before. My heart raced as she continued. "I feel trapped. I think I settled when I married you. The words hit me like physical blows, but nothing prepared me for what came next. You need to understand something, Bernard. You're nothing more than a co-parent to me, not my real match. I married you because you were stable and would be a good father. But that spark, that connection was never really there for me. As she spoke, explaining that we should continue as is for the kids, suggesting a polite arrangement where we would live as roommates while presenting a united front to the world, I felt my entire reality shift. The drive home was silent, the tension so thick I could barely breathe. The weeks following Amanda's devastating revelation were among the darkest of my life. I spent nights staring at the ceiling, replaying our entire relationship in my mind, searching for signs I had missed, wondering if anything between us had ever been real. During the day, I functioned on autopilot, taking care of the children, attending meetings at work, going through the motions while feeling hollow inside. I researched marriage counselors, leaving pamphlets where Amanda would see them. She flatly refused, saying there was nothing to fix, that I simply needed to accept our new reality. I doubled down on household responsibilities, thinking perhaps Amanda felt overwhelmed by domestic duties. I cooked elaborate meals, handled all school pickups and drop-offs, took over laundry and cleaning. If she noticed these efforts, she gave no indication. I bought thoughtful gifts. A book by an author she had mentioned. A bracelet, similar to one she had admired in a store window. She accepted them with cool politeness, setting them aside with barely a thank you. Weekend family outings to the zoo, museums, and parks increasingly became just the children, and me, as Amanda claimed, she needed me time or had plans with friends. I tried not to let the kids see my disappointment when she canceled last minute, creating excuses about mommy having important things to do. One evening, while searching for batteries in her nightstand for Sophia's toy, I discovered several self-help relationship books hidden under a stack of magazines. Titles like When Love Fades and Staying for the Children confirmed my worst fears, and Amanda had been contemplating our situation for much longer than I realized. My appetite disappeared. I lost 15 pounds in 3 weeks, my clothes hanging loose on my frame. Colleagues commented on my appearance, asking if I was ill. I deflected with vague references to a new diet, unwilling to share the humiliating truth. The breaking point came during one of Lucas's baseball games. Amanda had promised to attend, but texted last minute that something had come up. As I sat alone on the bleachers watching other couples cheer together for their children, something inside me cracked. I hurried to the restroom and broke down sobbing in a bathroom stall, gripping the metal partition until my knuckles turned white. The following weekend, my best friend Marcus invited me on a fishing trip. We had been friends since college, and he immediately noticed something was wrong. After some prodding, I confessed everything, the words pouring out like a dam had broken. Marcus listened without interruption, then delivered the harsh truth I needed to hear. Bernard, you're being a doormat. She's using you for stability while giving you nothing in return. Where's your self-respect, man? You deserve better than this arrangement. His words stung but penetrated the fog of denial I had been living in. That evening, during family dinner, Amanda spent the entire meal texting, barely acknowledging the children's stories about their day. Later, as I tucked the kids into bed, I overheard Lucas ask his sister, "Why does mommy not love daddy anymore?" The innocent question from my 7-year-old son shattered my heart anew. That night, I discovered a text notification on Amanda's iPad that had synced from her phone. A message from someone named James read, "Can't wait to see you tomorrow. Our lunch breaks are the highlight of my day." I didn't snoop further, but the evidence of her emotional investment elsewhere was undeniable. I spent that night on the living room couch staring at family photos on the wall, memories that now seemed like scenes from someone else's life. As dawn broke, so did my clarity. If Amanda wanted just a co-parent, not a husband, then that's exactly what I would become. Watching my children sleep before leaving for work, I formulated my plan. I would protect my heart by detaching emotionally while still being the best father possible. I would rebuild my identity separate from my role as Amanda's husband. That evening, I searched online for emotional detachment, while co-parenting, reading articles about establishing boundaries, parallel parenting, and rebuilding self-worth. I made detailed notes, treating my marriage like a business problem, requiring strategic solutions. Without announcement or drama, I moved my belongings to the guest room that weekend, while Amanda was at brunch with friends. I opened a separate bank account, transferring a portion of my salary, while maintaining contributions to our joint account for household and children's expenses. I reached out to old friends I had lost touch with during marriage, scheduling regular meetups. I renewed my membership at a rock climbing gym I had frequented, before having children committed to reclaiming parts of myself I had neglected. Most importantly, I found a therapist specializing in relationship trauma. During our first session, Dr. Martinez helped me articulate boundaries and develop coping mechanisms for the pain I was still processing. At home, I created a vision board, something I would have scoffed at months earlier. On it, I placed images representing career growth, physical health, mindfulness, and quality time with my children. Notably, absent was anything related to romantic partnership or reconciliation with Amanda. Implementing my plan required discipline and consistency. I adjusted my communication with Amanda to focus solely on children finances and household logistics. Our conversations became brief and businesslike, devoid of emotional content or personal inquiries. I created a detailed co-parenting schedule in a shared digital calendar, color-coding activities and responsibilities. Lucas dentist, dad driving Sophia soccer, mom attending school conference, both parents. Everything was clearly delineated, eliminating the need for unnecessary discussion. At work, I channeled my emotional energy into professional growth, volunteering for projects I had previously declined due to family obligations. Within 3 months, this renewed focus earned me a promotion and significant raise, which I mentioned to Amanda only in terms of increased financial contribution to the children's college funds. Physical transformation became another focus. I established a consistent gym routine, working with a trainer twice weekly. I overhauled my nutrition, meal prepping on Sundays, while the kids helped turning it into a fun activity while teaching them about healthy eating. My clothes began fitting differently, and I updated my wardrobe, replacing the comfortable but shapeless attire of a man who had stopped trying to impress anyone. I discovered a passion for photography, joining a local club that met Thursday evenings, deliberately scheduling self-development during Amanda's traditional girls' night out. Weekend mornings, I joined a hiking group, taking the children with me on beginner trails, returning home with rosy cheeks and stories of adventure that excluded their mother. New friendships formed naturally through these activities. Relationships entirely, my own not connected to our couple friends, who had gradually stopped inviting us out as tensions became apparent. I cultivated these connections, carefully appreciating how they affirmed my identity beyond husband and father. When Amanda would attempt to provoke an emotional response, through criticism, passive-aggressive comments, or references to our past intimacy, I responded with neutral expressions and redirection to practical matters. The children need new winter clothes. Should I purchase them, or would you prefer to? No defensiveness, no engagement with attempts to pull me back into emotional dynamics. I took the children on special outings, amusement parks, children's museums, camping weekends, planning these excursions during my designated parenting time without extending invitations to Amanda. The photos of these happy adventures displayed prominently on the refrigerator told their own story of a father fully engaged with his children's lives. Amanda's initial reaction to my transformation was relief. She seemed to appreciate the lack of emotional demands, the absence of attempts to discuss our relationship or repair what she had declared broken. She increased her time away from home, offering no explanations for her whereabouts, clearly enjoying this newfound freedom. References to her coworker James became more frequent in her conversations with friends on the phone, discussions I overheard without seeking them out. James thought that movie was overrated too, or James knows the owner of that restaurant. She began treating me as convenient childcare, texting last-minute requests to watch the children while she attended impromptu social gatherings. I responded politely but firmly, agreeing only when it aligned with my schedule and declining when it conflicted with my personal commitments. Despite her emotional rejection, she maintained financial dependence, enjoying the stability of our household and the lifestyle my income provided. I overheard her on the phone, with Jessica describing our arrangement as perfect, the security of marriage, without the obligations of true partnership. The turning point in Amanda's attitude arrived approximately 4 months into my new approach. At Lucas's school science fair, several parents commented on my appearance and apparent happiness. "Bernard, you look fantastic. Whatever you're doing, it's working," said Rachel, a single mother, whose son was friends with Lucas. I thanked her warmly, engaging in conversation, while aware of Amanda watching from across the room. Later that week, Amanda mentioned casually, "The kids seem really excited about your weekend activities lately." Her tone suggested mild curiosity mixed with something else, perhaps concern that the children's enthusiasm for daddy days had begun to exceed their excitement for time with her. When I declined non-essential requests, picking up dry cleaning on my way home, attending her office party, as her +1 fixing her car's navigation system, Amanda's expression revealed surprise. She had grown accustomed to my accommodating nature, my eagerness to please her regardless of convenience to myself. Her attempts at emotional manipulation increased proportionally to my detachment. "The children really miss family movie nights," she said one evening, though I had maintained this tradition faithfully during my parenting time. "You seem so different lately, so cold," she remarked another day, seemingly forgetting it was precisely what she had requested. The first clear sign of jealousy emerged when Diana, a photographer from my club, called to coordinate our assignment for an upcoming exhibition. Amanda lingered in the doorway during the conversation later, asking pointed questions about this Diana person and whether photography club was just a hobby or something more. 6 months into our new dynamic, Amanda entered my room late one night after returning from an evening out. I was reading in bed glasses perched on my nose, deliberately projecting calm, despite my surprise at this boundary crossing. "Why are you doing this?" she demanded, her voice tinged with emotion I hadn't heard in months. "Doing what exactly?" I asked, placing my bookmark carefully. "Punishing me. Being so distant. Acting like we're strangers, sharing a house." I took a moment before responding, choosing my words carefully. "I'm not punishing you, Amanda. I'm being exactly what you wanted, just a co-parent." "This isn't what I meant," she said, sitting uninvited on the edge of my bed. "You're being deliberately cruel." "I'm honoring your words," I replied quietly. 6 months ago, you told me I was nothing more than a co-parent to you, not your real match. I've simply adjusted to that reality." Her eyes filled with tears, a vulnerability I hadn't witnessed since before her declaration. "I made a terrible mistake, Bernard. I was confused, restless. I thought I wanted something else, someone else, but I was wrong." She confessed that her friendship with James had progressed to an emotional affair, but ended badly when she discovered he had been pursuing similar connections with 2 other women at their company. "I miss us," she whispered. "I miss the way you looked at me, the way you cared. I miss feeling like we were a team." I listened without interruption, acknowledging her feelings, without offering immediate forgiveness or reconciliation. "I need time to process this," I said finally. "We can't simply pretend those words were never spoken, or that these months haven't changed us both." She nodded, wiping tears, and left my room with a softly spoken goodnight that carried more regret than promise. The days following Amanda's confession required careful navigation of my conflicting emotions. Part of me, the part that had loved her unconditionally for years, wanted to embrace her renewed interest and return immediately to our former life. But the stronger, wiser part recognized that path would likely lead to repeated heartbreak. I consulted Dr. Martinez during an additional therapy session, discussing healthy boundaries and what genuine reconciliation might require. "The question isn't whether you still love her," she said, "but whether a relationship between who you both are now could be healthy and fulfilling." In quiet moments while the children played, I journaled extensively, listing the positive and negative aspects of reconciliation versus separation. I acknowledged my growth during our estrangement, newfound independence, self-respect, personal interests, and confidence that had previously been lacking. I recognized that while I understood Amanda's perspective, her feelings of restlessness, her questioning whether she had missed experiences by marrying young, I could not excuse the cruelty of her actions or the casual dismissal of our years together. After 2 weeks of reflection, I invited Amanda to coffee at a neutral location while the children were at school. I presented my non-negotiable conditions for attempting to rebuild our relationship couples: the counseling with full honesty from both parties, continued respect for my individual growth and activities, and the understanding that trust would need to be rebuilt gradually, through consistent actions, not promises. "I'm not the same man who would have done anything to keep you," I explained. "I value myself now. I know I deserve a partnership of mutual respect and genuine love. If you want to try again, it needs to be with the understanding that we're building something new, not returning to old patterns." Amanda agreed, expressing both surprise and appreciation for my directness. 2 days later, we attended our first couples session with Dr. Andrews, beginning the challenging process of excavating the issues that had led to our breakdown. Those initial sessions revealed difficult truths. Amanda acknowledged deep-seated insecurities that had made her vulnerable to attention from others. I admitted to enabling dysfunction by prioritizing peacekeeping over honest communication. We discovered patterns inherited from our respective family backgrounds, repeating cycles we had never consciously identified. Amanda demonstrated genuine effort in rebuilding trust. She shared her phone password, offered complete transparency about her whereabouts, and pursued individual therapy to address her own issues. Most importantly, she respected my boundaries, never pressuring me to move faster than I felt comfortable with in rekindling intimacy. I maintained my personal growth trajectory, continuing photography, hiking, and friendships established during our separation. These activities were no longer escape routes, but essential components of my identity that brought fulfillment independent of my marital status. Small moments of reconnection emerged organically through honest conversations, discovering perspectives and feelings we had never shared during our first attempt at marriage. We created new family traditions that acknowledged our changed relationship: weekend breakfast picnics in the park and evening board games that centered on genuine engagement with each other and the children. Both of us learned to communicate needs and expectations clearly, rather than hoping the other would intuitively understand. "I need 30 minutes of quiet when I first get home from work," I might say, or Amanda would request. I'd appreciate acknowledgement of the household tasks I complete, not just those I miss. We balanced our individual identities with partnership commitments, recognizing that healthy relationships require both separation and togetherness. Date nights resumed, but with greater intention and presence, focusing on building connection rather than merely maintaining appearances. The journey taught me invaluable lessons that transformed my approach to relationships and life itself. I learned that self-worth must come from within, not from another person's validation. Sometimes losing someone leads to finding yourself in ways you never anticipated. I understood the danger of taking partners for granted, making assumptions about their happiness or satisfaction, without creating space for honest communication. I discovered the power of responding thoughtfully, rather than reacting emotionally in moments of crisis. Perhaps most importantly, I learned that love requires both feeling and choice. The emotion that draws you to someone, and the daily decision to honor commitment, even when feelings fluctuate. I found strength through vulnerability, discovering that honest acknowledgement of pain can lead to greater resilience than denial ever could. 1 year after Amanda's devastating words at that restaurant, our relationship bears little resemblance to its former state. We function now as equal partners with clear boundaries, mutual respect, and renewed appreciation for what we almost lost permanently. The pain of that period has transformed into wisdom that guides our choices daily. Whether our marriage ultimately thrives long-term remains uncertain, but I face that uncertainty with confidence rather than fear. I know my worth now. I understand my capacity for growth through adversity. I recognize that while loving someone else deeply matters, loving yourself matters more. Have you ever experienced a relationship crisis that ultimately led to personal growth? What boundaries have you established to protect your emotional well-being? Share your stories in the comments below. If this journey resonated with you, please like this video and subscribe to our channel for more authentic life stories. Remember to share with someone who might need to hear that sometimes life's greatest pain can lead to unexpected transformation. Thank you for listening, and remember, you deserve a relationship that celebrates rather than diminishes your worth.